Good morning, everyone. Welcome back into North Dakota today. Actually, yesterday, I had the pleasure of visiting Carrie in downtown Fargo, and she does the old school collodion photography. We took a tour of her studio, and I even got my photo taken. Let's take a look. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back into North Dakota today. We have a very special treat for you guys, and I'm here with Carrie. Carrie, where are we right now?
We are at Old School Collodion Studio in downtown Fargo. So I do Victorian photography. It's from the 1850s. They used it until the 1880s. It's authentic. I do tintypes and ambrotypes.
Earlier.
Yes, so the building is important to the community because it was a business college that educated people far and wide from the 1880s until the 1970s. And people to this day still talk about it. It became a kind of a haven for artistic people, artists in the community, I believe in the early 1980s. And so now, fast forward to this day, I get to be a part of that community. So we're on the top floor of this building. It is a red brick building right beside Nicole's, and it's a beautiful neighborhood. I love it, and it provides lots of natural light. So we have 19 9-foot windows in this space.
Wow.
They are uncoated, so with my process, it only sees the UV spectrum, and I can't be in a modern building with UV coating. They do that to protect furnishings, but then I don't get an exposure. So today, unfortunately, because it is a little overcast, we have to use artificial lighting, but I typically work in natural light. So I do work in tin mostly for commissions. Most of my art pieces are glass. Behind us here, this is an ambrotype I did for my last art exhibition. This is a commission I just did. This is a tintype, but you can barely tell the difference there. And this is the first successful landscape ambrotype ever taken in history of the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. I'm really proud of it because I had to drag 10 gallons of water up there and a 24-pack of water bottles just to get 4 exposures. And I was by myself, I had no assistant. So yeah, that's my favorite one. I took 4, but. So that's a print, and I do make those available. There's some for sale at the Jasper right now. Kind of hard to see in the dark here, but this is amber stained glass. And this is a self-portrait that Maria Bryan, another photographer, helped me accomplish by removing the lens cap. And I do love working in colored glass because it's a monochrome process, and it adds color to that monochrome process, which is kind of breaking the rules, which I love to do. This is another example of that. So I paint a tintype, and then I layer it with an actual ambrotype exposure so that it can create kind of a cool, I call it my graffiti plate.
Yeah.
And I can show you some examples of historical forms of this process on my shelves if you want to see.
Yes,
okay?
Let's do it.
And I don't know if you can see this. It's a very tiny glass collodion negative that he created himself with a 3-inch camera.
Wow.
And so
landscape?
Yeah,
okay.
So negatives are processed a little differently than a positive ambrotype or tintype. And he's a master at making negatives. And the reason why this is cool is you can make contact prints. And so this process, what made it so phenomenal, this is his contact print done with an enlarger in his home studio. What makes this so phenomenal, this process, was that it was the first time images could be reproduced with high quality resolution. And they would do that with important images. A lot of times you'll see tintypes in antique shops and stuff. Those were like the soldiers that came in from the Civil War, and your average person, they were getting positives. But if there was a famous person like Abraham Lincoln or someone, they would want a negative because then you could make multiple copies. And so it really opened that wide for everyone in history to have, multiple images, which was great.
So what really inspired you to start doing this type of photography?
Well, I always loved vintage and antique things. I was always drawn to the past, and I did run a vintage hat shop for 11 years, and that's what really connected me with this process. So I had seen a photograph online. It was an ambrotype scan through social media, and I was thinking, wow, that would be great for my hat shop to really do a cross promotion for social media. And so I contacted that artist, and I went out there and I had my own portraits done. And it was a great collaboration, but when I was there, I felt like this is my next creative project. I've always tried different creative things, adventures, because that's how we keep our brains alive, right? So this was like the next thing. I just knew immediately when I saw it happening in the darkroom that day that I wanted to pursue learning this and doing it. And so I bought some books, and about 5 months later, I started making images on top of my rooftop, top of the roof of my apartment building. And I haven't looked back. I've made images every single week since.
I bet people are really just taken aback seeing themselves in such a historical kind of context. You're using the same kind of photography that their grandparents or maybe great-grandparents used. How does that really feel to you?
It feels great. It's sometimes a shock to people. They're used to seeing themselves in these digital images that are very colorful and, they're in control of. They can take so many of them until they get the right one, and I love that because who doesn't want a perfect photograph? This is different because when they see themselves, it takes a lot of effort and time just to get that one shot. And then once that shot is there and we've worked as a team really hard to get it, it's maybe not how they usually see themselves, and it probably isn't how people see them on a daily basis, but it was them in that moment. And it, we talked about the UV spectrum. It only sees certain colors, and so that does change the appearance of the subject as well. So it's a discovery process, and it is shocking. But some people get emotional when they see themselves. Mostly it's surprise. And I love that. That's the best part, when they see the image come to life and it's like, oh, it's me. And they almost connect with themselves in a different way. So that makes it really special.
All right, and what are we going to be doing today?
So we're going to take your tintype and possibly an ambrotype. I love to work with colored glass, and I do have one piece of hand-poured colored glass in amber. So we'll get an image of that. But so I need you to hold still for me. After I put the lens cap on the lens, I can no longer see you. I will be loading the plate holder and pulling the slide. And then after that, I will remove the lens cap, and we will be taking the image at that time. So that's when the image is created. So you have to hold nice and still for me. You can blink and you can breathe. You just need to keep your point of focus of where you're looking.
How incredible! I was like, Sophia, how long did you just have to sit and stare there? But it wasn't that long, huh?
It wasn't that long, and actually the most interesting thing is she has a little, it almost looks like I don't even know what it looks like. It's this old-timey kind of device specifically for this purpose, and it's a big metal rod with two little points that come up and they touch the back of your head.
So you don't move?
To ensure that you are really still.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so she says you can blink, you can breathe, and so you're just sitting there and, well, not smiling. I can't not smile now, but I'm just staring at the camera, and I held it for about 10 seconds, but this is the photo.
And she just sent this to you this morning?
Yes, this was just done this morning, and I am so amazed and impressed by her craft.
Yeah.
I think this turned out really cool, and it's just really such a cool experience.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you were showing it to us a little bit like in the newsroom right before we came on air because she had just sent it to you finished. And who did I say you looked like? Now I forget because Jordan said it was I said if you're familiar with the show Vampire Diaries, she looked like Elena Gilbert. And like she plays a character in different time periods where that would have been her look.
Yeah.
And then what did Jordan say, Morticia?
Yes, Morticia Adams. And then I thought it was so funny because that was one of our Halloween costumes.
Yes.
I was like, maybe I should be here for Halloween.
Yeah, we were like, that's working for you. Okay, but if you guys remember, we got introduced to her because of Pioneer Days at Bonanzaville.
Yes.
So she had come on for the back half of an interview to kind of explain what she does and how she does it. So after the fact, we were like, we need to see that entire, progress. What am I trying to say? Example?
Process.
There
we go. There we go.
Process, example. Words do get hard sometimes, but that was incredible. So from start to finish, to see all of her surroundings, how she's working with it, and you really kind of feel like you're stepping back in time.
That's exactly how I felt. It really honestly reminded me of the photos that I have seen of my great-grandparents. And like she said, it was honestly emotional. It was just, I felt kind of connected to Maybe my ancestors. You know,
Yeah,
they
maybe.
sat for the photo the same way that I did.
Yeah, and it's all about a mindset
Yeah,
too.
it
So-
was really sweet. So thank you so much, Carrie. This truly was like genuinely the most amazing experience.
Aw,
Yeah, it's
how
really fun.
exciting. Okay, but I do want to know, how hard was it to not smile?
Kind of hard.
Like, how do you, we're so used to smiling for photos
yeah,
or
it
smiling.
was kind of hard. I was just like
Yeah.
trying to mean mug it.
Yeah, you did good
But
though.
thank you.
You did well. Yeah, looks good. How cool. All right, I'm so glad we had time to do that. Coming up on today's show, Soul Solutions Recovery Center joining us in studio to talk about celebrating National Recovery Month with 2 incredible events ahead. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.